So, we know this is a library of 66 books. We know that each book is a separate entity. But again, we know that every book depends on the other book. This makes me marvel about God. Think about it. How will Paul write Romans without the first 5 books of the Bible? How will he justify the book of Romans without the first 5 books of the Bible? How will you justify the book like Hebrews without the first 5 books, without Numbers, without Leviticus, without... How can you justify Hebrews? It will be thrown away because it has no foundation. Without the first 11 chapters of Genesis, the Bible collapses. Did you hear that? Without the first 11 chapters of Genesis, the Bible will collapse. Because the first 11 chapters of the Bible explain the rest of the Bible. So, if John tells you, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not... So, you are like, what am I being saved from? Then you find it in Genesis chapter 3. You are like, oh, so this is what happened. Yeah? When Matthew tells you, oh, in the beginning it was not so, because God said that the two shall not be separated, and that which God has put together no man should... Where do you get this? You go back to Genesis. Yeah? When you hear that people are dying, like, and you are sad, you are asking yourself, why are people dying? Then you remember Genesis. The day you eat of this tree, you'll surely die. So you have to go to the beginning. The first 11 chapters of the Bible. If you have never studied the Bible, begin with those ones. Study the first 11 chapters of the Bible and understand them. You will be able to see how it relates. The entire Bible finds its origin in those. Why do people fight? You go and look for Abel and Cain. That's why people kill each other. Yeah? Derek is saying here, the first government, you look for a man called Nimrod. How did the governments come about? You discover, oh, there's a man. When Israel was told to scatter all over the world, he said, no, we'll stay here. And so, anything you want to find, the root is found in the book of Genesis. And particularly chapter 1 to chapter 11. So, Paul never met Moses. But the writings of Paul qualify what Moses wrote. There must be a supernatural hand behind it. And that's the law of connection. Every historian has the responsibility to ensure that his books flow, his writings flow. And that was the responsibility of God. That everything that was given to the authors of the Bible to write, they flow from Genesis to Revelation. You don't see like you are going back and coming forth and you are going back. No. You're not hearing stories here of creation, then you hear salvation, then again another creation, then no, you see these stories advancing and advancing and advancing and advancing until you are brought to the book of Revelation. And that's why I was telling you in the morning study that theologically they look at Genesis chapter 1 to 11 as prehistoric. Because the history of Israel begins from one man called Abraham. The prophetic books of Israel have been written within the historical context. And that's very important because the kings must have ruled when the Bible says they rule. The wars that Israel fought, they must have been fought when the Bible says that they were fought. Historically, they must have been fought. So the events that are in the Bible have been carefully selected by God to connect and bring out a message that is communicating to us.